let's go to Isaac in Hollywood, Florida. Welcome to the Line of Fire.
Hi, Dr. Michael Brown.
Hello.
Yes. So I actually have a lot of different questions ranging on all different types of topics. And I know you don't have that much time because you want to go to different callers. So that's fine. I'll just address my more important questions. I just wanted to say that I am a member of the congregation of Temple Beth Torah, who is the rabbi of that congregation is Michael Gold, who you actually debated with.
Yes. What a gentleman. Yes. Wonderful gentleman. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I grew up a Jewish man. I'm conservative. I'm actually 16 years old, and my Hebrew name is Israel. And throughout my whole life, I've basically struggled with God. I've tried to become more orthodox. Sometimes I've been messianic. I even, at one point, was atheist or agnostic. My whole life, I've been trying to find the truth. And your videos have helped me out a lot, so I thank you for that. And I also want to say happy birthday to your daughter.
Well, thank you.
But my question is, I have two questions. I always hear you talking about, why Jesus is the Jewish Messiah, Yeshua, and the differences between Christianity and Judaism and trying to reconcile them. But I never hear you talk about why you even believe in God. The foundation of all the religions is belief in God. So I wanted to hear your opinion and why you personally believe in that there is a higher power or that there is a God.
You bet. And Isaac, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for your sincerity. I'm confident that if with all your heart you seek God and his truth, that he'll make himself known to you and reveal his truth to you. And my determination for decades has been to follow the truth wherever it leads, however uncomfortable the consequences might be. And for a 16-year-old, you're way ahead of the start that I had at that age. So why do I believe in the existence of God? Three primary answers. The first, experiential. I believed in a God growing up, but conservative congregation, as you're in, mine was very wishy-washy. There's my own religious beliefs were very weak. So I believed that God existed, but I'd never really gotten into deep thought as to why. The reason I'm 100% sure now is because he sought me out. He began to deal with me when I wasn't looking for him. He began to make me very uncomfortable for the lifestyle I was living, whereas the day before I was boasting about it, thinking I was the coolest thing out there. As people began to pray for me without me even knowing it, I became very uncomfortable in it. He revealed his love. I knew his love for me as sure as I'm sitting here. I was absolutely overwhelmed with a sense of his goodness and love for me, and that Jesus had really died for me. And his love so overwhelmed me. My heart was so flooded with a joy unlike anything I'd ever experienced in this world, that I knew it was God's love. And that's the night I said, I'll never put a needle in my arm again. December 17th of 1971 was free from that day on. I've seen him work in my life in so many tangible ways. I've felt him lead me to do a particular thing, and that it's supernaturally confirmed. I've had his nearness to me at critical times. I've prayed things that only he knew about, that only he could answer, and they were supernaturally answered. So I've had no reason to question his reality. My wife, Nancy, she and I will celebrate 40 years of marriage, God willing, in March. I don't question the reality of our relationship the same way I don't question the reality of my relationship with God. It doesn't mean that you push a button and get a miracle every second. It doesn't mean that you don't have unanswered questions, but it means that in the midst of it, God is so real, such a rock, such a foundation, such a friend, such a father, that there can be no question. And he's able to make us know. So that's one thing. Secondly, on a theological level, I'm convinced that the Bible is his word. I see things laid out even in terms of the existence of the Jewish people, our scattering, the world hating us, our regathering, the world assault on Jerusalem. These are indications to me of a supernaturally inspired book. That's just one of a number of reasons I believe in the Bible's inspiration. And then lastly, scientifically, I see no possible explanation for the origin of human life, for the development of human beings, even for the existence of the universe, unless there is an uncreated first creator. You know, there's the old adage, I think, therefore I am. I would say, I am, therefore God exists. There's no human explanation for DNA, for the information, the programming within us, the complexity. Evolution just falls short there in so many ways. But above all, it's that I really know the Lord. He's really worked in my life. He's made himself real to me in so many ways. And then I've seen him make himself real in the lives of so many people around the world where they've had a supernatural encounter and everything's changed after that. And that would be the biggest difference between me and just the practitioner of a religion.
Okay, and my next question, if I have more time, is...
Go for it.
The Exodus, or when we were freed from slavery, it's the foundation of both Christianity and Judaism. And if it never happened, then we can throw them both out the window. And I know that a lot of archaeologists and scientists claim that it never happened. They say there's no proof that however many 600,000 people, 3 million people were ever wandering in the desert for 40 years. There's no pottery. There's nothing. So how do we, this kind of ties in with the first question, how do we reconcile that if scientifically there's no evidence that we were ever slaves in Egypt? We don't even know who the Pharaoh was at that time. How do we reconcile and say that it did happen?
Yeah, well, what's interesting, Isaac, is that there is a lot of debate about this. The question is, when exactly should the Exodus be dated? And scholars have debated that between dates in the 15th century to dates in the 14th and 13th centuries as to exactly when the Exodus should be dated. And then other scholars have said, look, we can point to things, calamity and upheaval in the various Egyptian empires that would fit in with this account, depending on when it's dated. There was discussion, for example, about the conquest after the Exodus. And there were archaeologists that said, for example, that the city of Jericho did not exist the way the Bible claimed it did at that time. And then other archaeologists said, no, actually, there is evidence pointing to it. In other words, it is still an uncertain science. What I find interesting is that one of the world's foremost Egyptologists, Kenneth Kitchen, he's an older man now, much older man, British, but one of the most highly respected Egyptologists in the world, wrote a 600-page book called On the Reliability of the Old Testament, where he reiterates, based on all of the evidence that we have, why the Old Testament is trustworthy. So all of my studies, Isaac, were with professors who did not believe as I believed. Some of them were Orthodox Jews, but most of the time, if they were Jewish professors, they were not Orthodox, and many of them did not believe in the historicity of the Scripture. And yet, what's remarkable is that I studied it with all secular professors, some who were very hostile to the faith, and yet what happened to me is I tested everything out, and I ended up becoming stronger in faith rather than weaker. Let me suggest this, because we do have a break. I'd love to dialogue some more. Feel free to call back, but if you'd like me to send you a solid academic book, I'll buy it at my cost and send it to you, that gets into a lot of these questions about the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures. You just give the information to Betsy. We won't put your name on any mailing list or anything like that. I'll get the book for you and send it to you just to help answer some of these very important intellectual questions you have. And then keep asking God to make himself real to you and tell him, if you show me clearly, I will follow you. Thank you, Isaac, for the call.